In this video, I'll be rain testing not only this Coleman 2-person pop-up tent, but this 4-person pop-up tent as well. Before rain testing the 2-person tent, I checked all the seams and found that most of them have been seam taped, like these seams here. I noticed that the door seam here has not been seam taped because it's protected by this grey rain cover thing from the outside. Also, the seams on the roof of the tent have not been taped as well because they're protected by the Rainfly. Speaking of which, I also checked the Rainfly and found that all the seams have been taped. To rain test this Coleman 2-person pop-up tent, I used this water hose to kind of simulate heavy rain, which looked like this. Also, I used a stopwatch to time exactly how long I was rain testing this pop-up tent. The Rainfly of the Coleman pop-up tent curves downwards, so water doesn't collect at the top and instead drips down. However, the Rainfly is quite small, providing only partial protection from the rain. So, at about 4 minutes in, I noticed a patch of water seeping in through the door right here. And about 8 minutes in, it was already getting bigger and bigger. At about 15 minutes into the rain test, I stopped to check in on the tent. Even though I did my best to not let the door droop into the tent, I noticed so much leaking from just the door itself. Like so much leaking that formed pretty large puddles on the floor. On the inside of the Coleman pop-up tent, I noticed that quite a bit of water had started seeping in through the seam between the flooring and the tent body, even though it had been taped. I'm not really sure why, but it could be because the holes in the floor seam are quite big, and also some parts of the seam tape weren't very well applied, like here. I also found that both the green and white tent fabric had been soaked through after just 15 minutes of heavy rain. And what's worse is that the rain cover for the door zip has also been completely soaked through. All the water is like stuck in here. One more thing I noticed was that there was some water on the ceiling mesh of the tent, which was weird, and it dripped down onto the floor too, right here. So I decided to check on the Rainfly as well. After I unhooked the S-hooks and lifted the Rainfly, I found that the underside of the Rainfly was already wet and the entire Rainfly had already been soaked through. The Coleman 4-person pop-up tent has the exact same seams taped on the inside of the tent, like this seam connecting the flooring to the main tent body, and the 4 seams on the Rainfly were seam taped as well. I put this 4-person pop-up tent through about 10 minutes of light to moderate rain, which looked like this. I noticed a small pool of water on the Rainfly, but it doesn't look like it'll be a big issue. After the 10 minutes of light to moderate rain, I found that while most of the tent body was still dry, a little bit of water started seeping in through the white fabric near the bottom of the tent. It felt slightly damp to me. Also, I noticed that all around the tent flooring, some water started leaking through the holes of the seam. Thankfully, the seam tape prevented most of the water from leaking in through this seam, but it looks like it'll probably leak soon actually. Also, I noticed a small spot of water actually leaked through the seam tape right here. If you found this video helpful so far, please help me hit that like button, thank you, and I really appreciate it. Overall, I feel that the Coleman pop-up tents have minimal water resistance. The entire pop-up tent was completely soaked after just 15 minutes of heavy rain. Even the Rainfly was soaked through. And that's not all. Even after just 10 minutes of light to moderate rain, not even heavy rain, a little bit of water started seeping in through the tent fabric and also from the seam connecting the tent body to the flooring. I think 10 to 15 minutes of light to moderate rain is about the limit for this Coleman pop-up tent. Also, the door design is definitely not great for rain. Even if you don't let the door droop back into the tent, it'll still leak into your tent, which is super annoying. I would recommend this pop-up tent for indoor camping or backyard camping in the summer with clear skies. It can take a few minutes of light to moderate rain, but nothing more than that for sure. For a full review on both the Coleman 2-person and 4-person pop-up tents, check out these 2 videos right here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.